This one's wife, feeling the strain. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The victim of a narcissist in an intimate relationship, a familial relationship, a work one, a social one, will invariably, at some juncture, feel the strain of that entanglement. It's more noticeable in familial and romantic situations, particularly romantic, because the intimate partner primary source is the one that gets the worst of the devaluation. After all the good stuff, devaluation follows as night follows day. There's various different forms that it can take, but it's not pleasant. From the out-and-out horror of being raped and beaten up, having your money stolen, through to being ignored and suspecting that the individual is cheating behind your back, of finding the individual no longer wishes to support you, that the individual just takes you in circular conversations. And there are lots of different forms of manipulation that are used during that sustained devaluation. This then places a strain on the relationship. Most people don't realise what it actually is. They end up thinking that it's some external factor. The individual is stressed because they're busy at work, or they've got financial concerns, or maybe they're just feeling unwell. And more commonly, the victim ends up blaming themselves, believing that somehow they have caused the problem. They go groping around in the dark, trying to find the light switch of enlightenment, and invariably lay their hands on the wrong answer instead. And the fact is that they are ensnared by a narcissist. And that's where Harry finds himself. Yet he doesn't realise this. He will be aware that people call her a narcissist. He cannot have failed to notice that. It's now mentioned often enough as a consequence of my pioneering work that people recognise that she is one. It gets mentioned by people in the mainstream press. It gets mentioned by people broadcasting about her. Thus, the Prince of Pink Pancakes knows that she is labelled a narcissist, but he doesn't accept it. He doesn't accept it because, 1, she tells him she isn't. 2, his emotional thinking can't allow him to accept that this is the case. Instead, he sees this woman as the love of his life. And there's no doubt that she has subjected him to behaviours which will have troubled him, but he finds himself, like so many people do, who are caught in their addiction to the narcissist, unable to break free, believing that if he just tries that bit harder, things will be okay, that they will get it back to where it once was, that that wonderful beginning can be achieved again. And of course, during the sustained devaluation, the narcissist does provide occasional respite periods, with the consequence that the victim believes that they've now found the key to getting the relationship back on an even keel, that the good stuff flowed once again, and in the circumstances that it enabled the good stuff to return. And therefore, this meant that the individual thinks to themselves, I managed to get things okay again. In fact, more than okay. I'll be able to do it again. If I've done it once, I can do it again. And they end up being misled by not understanding that they're dealing with a narcissist and their own emotional thinking. Prince Harry is experiencing this at the moment, it would appear. The Mirror, as per Scarlett O'Toole, tells us Prince Harry and this one's wife hoping to avoid couples therapy in strained marriage. Prince Harry and this one's wife have been surrounded by rumours that their marriage is strained, with the couple said to be hoping to avoid relationship therapy. Well, what I can tell them is, don't bother with the therapy, it isn't going to help. The therapist will probably not spot that he's dealing with a narcissist, and instead will try and cause them to talk to one another, and all it will do is give her an opportunity to continue to blame shift onto Harry. It will enable her to use the therapy against him and will not solve the problem for him. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex recently returned home after a romantic holiday to the Caribbean, which they took without their 2 young children, see parts passim, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. The source has said that the trip was very much Harry's idea, adding that he's hoping to reignite the passion in their relationship. This shows just how he remains invested in this relationship, that he wants it to work, and that he's thinking of what can we do to fire things up, rather than him realise that the source of all of his woes is sat directly opposite him. He will likely be led by his emotional thinking and her manipulations to believe that the reason why things are so difficult is because there's an army of people who don't like them, that they've got some financial issues, that there are familial disputes that are going on, that the press continues to throw brickbats at them. Of course, what he doesn't realise is that all of those problems flow from her and her behaviour, and if he jettisons her, life would be a lot sweeter for him. The Mirror continues by explaining, Harry wanted to whisk this one's wife away for some couple time, and try to reignite the spark between them. They spent time relaxing, and it was great for them, the source said. Well, I'm not entirely clear what it is that they're relaxing from, because neither of them actually have proper jobs, but there we are. They also claim that the purpose of this one's wife and Harry's trip was also to figure out a plan moving forward. The source said the Sussexes are keen to avoid couples therapy. Now, if that is correct, that they're contemplating therapy, this just goes to demonstrate that there are difficulties in the marriage, and you all know where those difficulties come from: the narcissist. This one's wife and Harry's holiday was supposed to give them a chance to have some fun after all the work they've been doing lately. Hang on a second. Let's have a look. Hobnobbing at the Grand Prix. Shaking your wasp-stung ass at Beyonce ×2. Going on stage at Kevin Costner's benefit. Wandering around being important at the This One's Wife games in Dusseldorf. Where's all the work in all of that? Turning up at a mental health seminar with a cavalcade of vehicles to then just sit there and spout beige word salad and nonsense. Yeah, all tough work indeed. The source added, it's not like they're in crisis, but like everyone, they have their issues. Well, of course they do. It's a narcissist and her victim, and they need some quality time together. Actually, they don't. Harry thinks that they do because he doesn't understand what it is that he's dealing with. The intensity and scale of the stress they face, which of course is all of their own making, can make them very tetchy, especially as they're under so much scrutiny. And why are they under so much scrutiny? Because they court it. Again, if they sought the privacy that they always said that they wanted, they wouldn't be under as much scrutiny. Accordingly, there is this suggestion of strain, and comments come following a body language expert who told the Mirror the royal couple looked tense as they touched down in Atlanta following their holiday to the island of Kenouan in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They were pictured leaving the private plane they had hired to fly home. Judy James said, "There's no sign of any lingering post-holiday glow from this one's wife's body language here, and that romantic, idyllic hand-in-hand pose we saw from Harry and this one's wife as they stroll through deserted streets seems to have been replaced by a more separated look as this one's wife rushes ahead across the tarmac, leaving Harry to chat to someone as he trails behind." In other words, the facade management was activated in Kenouan, and once it was on the tarmac, it was all about her showing off her bag and being spotted leaving a private jet with backgrid notified. The body language expert added, "This one's wife's unsmiling facial expression and her directive pointing suggesting tension here and a desire to rush into the car. Harry appears to be in less of a rush, although the way both his elbows are raised as he walks could suggest some matching inattention here." What a load of shite. The fact is, Harry's in the grip of a narcissist. He's trying to get things to work, but he doesn't realise that it's not going to. The only thing that's going to work for Harry is for him to get away, and that isn't on the horizon. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.